Long Island native. Thomas, are you around? Thomas DiBenedetto. There he is. Seen in the film with his Elvis book. Thomas was really enthusiastic and helpful, and he came to our therapy session in the studio where the show took place, and it's been fun getting to know him a little bit. But it wasn't his only Downey appearance, so I'll let him tell you about his Downey history.
Well, first I just want to say one thing, and I think this stuff is a bunch of money-making garbage. And if Elvis was alive, why don't you book him on the Morton Downey Jr. show once? As a matter of fact, I think this still has some of Mort's fingerprints on it.
Terrific.
So, the question again?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt your bit.
That's all I got. You know, I've been doing that until I'm 60.
The question is, express to the audience like how you ended up as a guest on that show, and then you didn't stop there. You were like a perennial guest on Morton Downey Jr.
Well, what happened was I worked for a leasing company that leased WOR some of the equipment. And when they were late with their payments, I would call them up and they'd say, "We're very sorry. But I'll tell you what, we got tickets to one of the hottest shows on television. Would you like them?" And I said, sure, but next month you really have to be on time. So I would go down there and, every time they were late, they would just bribe me with these tickets. And of course it was the hottest show on television, so I went.
But why'd you speak? Why'd you get up?
Oh, well, the energy in the energy in the audience was just so much, you just had to, And of course you got a little bit of ham in you, you got to run up and be on television. Back in those days, the only show that was doing that was Donahue.
Right.
And it wasn't something an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid wanted to be on. You wanted to be on the Downey show.
Right.
You wanted to yell at these people who, you normally in life you want to yell at these people, and here was Downey yelling at him. You want to get up there and yell at him too. This guy was saying that he recorded a song with Elvis 2 months ago. And, you go up there and you say, well, if Elvis is alive, why don't you book him on the Downey show, or you would say whatever you wanted the beast behind you to agree with,
So I couldn't get to the Downey show because I didn't have a car, and I think a friend of mine from my high school organized, no, my dad didn't want to take me, I don't know why, but a friend of mine organized a trip to go see Geraldo taping, and the guest book were all experts on Kennedy. And it was a boring show. And I got up and spoke at what his version of the loudmouth was, and made one of these, why are you guys wasting all your time writing about the Kennedys? Like I was on the Morton Downey Jr. show, and I was just met with a full audience gasp. So I didn't have the privilege of going on Downey like you did.
Is there a videotape of it?
There is.
Oh,
there is. It didn't make it in the film, but my question for you, I guess, is you didn't stop there. Downey had his sort of poor man's version of Downey shows a few years later after his flame out, and you went to those tapings too. What was the?
It was Crossfire with Richard Carter and Morton Downey Jr. And you had Richard Carter was a liberal and Morton Downey was the conservative, and they would take on subjects. And that's one of the shows I was on. I was actually talking to Gloria Allred, who. Actually it's on YouTube.
You've had such a distinctive career as an audience member.
Yes, I'm a professional audience member. And the other night, actually. But it was fun. It was being on television. As a matter of fact, there was one time, I don't know, a lot of people might know that Downey was on at 9 o'clock, and then they would show it again at 2 o'clock in the morning. And my boss came up to me one day, and he says, "Tom, I was in bed last night. I fell asleep with the TV on. My wife was next to me. And I wake up and I hear your voice in bed. And I look up at my TV and you're on my television." So, it was a thrill to be on television. So
Didn't you tell me that you had cut out from work that day? And he didn't know?
Yeah, that was what he found out. But he said it was okay.
I'm going to open it back up to the audience in case there's additional questions for Tom or for myself.
I think we have a third mic. You have the other mic? It's not working? It's not working.
This young lady over here would like.
We have one, but it's dead.
That one isn't working.
We're going to start with her. She's got a mic.
Oh no, I have the mic.
Yes.
I saw the daughter, obviously, in the film. How many children did he have? And I'm really curious how involved the rest of his family was outside of Lori and what their reaction to the final product.
Okay, so the first wife, they were divorced by like the 60s, and it didn't fit into the sort of piece of his life and his show that we were telling a story, so we didn't pursue her. And she had a daughter, he had a daughter with the first wife. The daughter is not someone that was easily tracked down, and we sort of let it be. The second wife had two daughters, Tracy and Kelly, and they're both sort of featured. Tracy is sort of part of the Donahue hoax team, and Kelly is the interview that we conducted. Kelly was with Downey during the Morton Downey Jr. show for those 2 years. She lived with not her mom, but with the third wife, Kim, and Mort in that house that you saw some footage of. She felt like once we got Kelly on board, that was the perspective that we were looking for. The fourth wife, Lori, who we spoke about before, has a daughter who's about 18 right now. And since Lori was hostile to the project, we didn't pursue. The daughter is seen briefly in a commercial about smoking on the swing set. But I spoke to 3 of the 4 wives. The second wife still found the pain too hard to reflect on camera, Kelly's mom, but she gave her blessing to Kelly to be in the film. The third wife, Kim, who really gets screwed over in the film, she's not doing so well health-wise, and her husband said they were very sorry she couldn't participate, but she wasn't healthy enough to speak. So that's the family involvement. I also spoke to Morton Downey Sr.'s second wife, who's a socialite in Florida. Her name's Ann Trainer Downey. And at one point she was going to do it, and then she's not going to do it. But she told me some very feisty, funny stories about she liked Mort a lot. So that's the family background. Too much? You getting too much information about this movie, or are you still okay?